So to punish a team because one player got hurt is just not. It's collusion, first off, because you really wanted that SEC team in there. I sent a message to y'all saying that Saban bullied the committee into making sure that they got into that championship, the tournament.
The whole thing was they did whatever they had to do to justify to try to get Alabama in there. Mm-hmm. But it's no justification for Alabama getting in there.
None whatsoever.
Man, you say collusion. I think it's a whole other word.
What's that?
Bullshit. It's some bullshit, Geraldo. Look, man. Okay. This is my thing about it. Okay,
right turn to left, y'all.
Even aside from being a Florida State fan and being truly upset that Florida State didn't make it. Now, I heard some arguments. I thought that because I think me and Rodney talked about this a little bit one day, because it was right after I was watching the Pat McAfee show. And
he's a fan.
No, I'm not. It just be on while I'm watching ESPN. It come on, so I leave it on. So anyway, but it's starting to grow on me. I can't lie. But anyway,
Pat, come see Dorian. Pat,
they were talking to my man Kirk Herbstreit, and Kirk Herbstreit made the comment, and now you've been hearing this a lot. Is it the best team or the most deserving team? Just because, and what they were saying, and then Chris Fowler said this the other day as well, when he was being interviewed by Scott Van Pelt. He was like, always, not all the time is the most deserving team the best team. Okay, now with that said, let me say that I completely disagree with that, and this is why. At first, I contemplated and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of see their point. But then I thought back to the fact that, well, what this says, it flies in the face of everything that they say about winning.
Do it on the field.
What's the point of going and leaving it all out on the field? What's the point of going to play? What's the point of being mad at these players who sit out the bowl games? What's the point of doing all of that when you cheat a team? Literally, you cheat a team that won every game. They did everything that they were supposed to do. They won every game. They beat everybody that was in front of them. And I know y'all talked about this when I came in. They did everything they were supposed to do. They beat the ranked teams. They were ranked, all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, you change it all up. But what you're telling them is that winning doesn't matter. What you're telling them is money matters. And that's the whole thing that you've been preaching against. The whole thing about not wanting to pay these players, about going to court, trying to keep from giving them their NILs, all of these things that you've tried to do when they had them old school NCAA restrictions, where if a player was stranded on the side of the road, if the coach picked him up and fixed his flat tire, that was an NCAA violation. I watched this thing the other day with Chris Webber talking about he was going to go to Michigan State, but he went to a Minnesota. He went on a recruiting trip to Minnesota. He said they took him to a football game. After the game was over, he was walking around and he shook someone's hand. And the person whose hand he shook was somebody from Michigan State or whatever. And because of that, it was an NCAA violation and he couldn't go to Michigan State, which is where he wanted to go. So everything that you've done completely flies in the face of everything you preach. Like Barry White said, practice what you preach. Practice team first. Practice working hard and winning. You preach that, but then you don't practice it when it comes to the values that you have when you're in this selection committee and you're picking this teams. Because that's basically what you did is you picked dollars over value. And this is supposed to be, the college experience is supposed to be a valuable experience. But I guess what you're teaching these kids is that life ain't fair and that money is what really matters and money rules the world, because that's exactly what happened. The only reason that there's an SEC team in there is because they wanted the money. And I said this to the brothers, to the frat brothers in the group chat. I said, there's no way that there's going to be a college football playoff without an SEC team. I said, now I thought that it would be Georgia. I said they're not going to drop Georgia out the top 4. Georgia will stay in there. Maybe Bama will be 5. But I said it's gonna be Georgia. I said it won't be Bama, it'll be Georgia. But then they fooled me. It ended up being Bama, right? So again, that was my thing. It's just the hypocrisy of it all, right? So with the college football playoff committee, they're a bunch of hypocrites.
Don't blame it on sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on the boogie.